Moving into the 2000s, United were on top of the world thanks to the motivation of winning the first ever triple in English football. They went on to win the Premier League in 2000, 2001 and 2003. But unfortunately, around this time, the relationship between Beckham and United was breaking down. And on the 1st of July 2003, Beckham was sold to Real Madrid for a fee of £33.7 million.
You know, I've joined a club that is a massive club. You know, if I was going to leave Manchester United at any time in my career, then to join a massive club like Real Madrid is a dream. I think that I will miss the fans and the players that I've grown up with because I've regarded the players at Manchester United as my family, and you know, I've got a lot of very special friends there, a lot of special people. Everyone's been very kind to me in Manchester and looked after me for 13 years, and obviously I'm sad to leave them, but you know, I'm joining Real Madrid, and that for me is as exciting as it gets, to be honest.
With Beckham's departure, Ferguson was in need of a new number 7. In a pre-season friendly between United and Sporting Lisbon, his prayers were answered, as he went on to sign what would be one of football's greatest players ever, Cristiano Ronaldo.
The story goes that at half-time, the Manchester United players have been given the runaround by this kid that they know almost nothing about, so much so that they are walking in the dressing room at half-time and saying to the Manchester United manager, Alex Ferguson, "You have to sign this boy." John O'Shea, experienced Manchester United defender, was twisted inside out in the first 45 minutes by Ronaldo, an extraordinary performance. And the story goes that Alex Ferguson got onto the United kit man, told him to find Peter Kenyon, the chief executive of the club, and to immediately begin negotiations with Sporting during the second half to make sure that Manchester United can sign this kid before anybody else did. Actually, Ronaldo had already touted himself a little bit towards Liverpool. He'd said what a thrill, what an honour it would be to be involved in such a club of such tradition. Arsenal had met with his agent, but Alex Ferguson, on the say-so of his players, made sure that in the second 45 minutes of this exhibition match, that they pretty much had Ronaldo by the time the final whistle went.
Sir Alex Ferguson said, "Cristiano, I want that you're coming from Manchester United, you're going to play 50% of the games. Make me feel comfortable." And I say, wow, with 18 years old to play 50% of the games, for me it's unbelievable. This is why I take that decision, because of course George helped me to take that decision, and of course the last word of Sir Alex Ferguson was the key to sign for Manchester United.
Ronaldo quickly developed in his time at United and became the top scorer season after season. 2005 saw United under a lot of backlash as the club were to be bought out by US tycoon and NFL owner Malcolm Glazer. This deal meant that Glazer owned 75% of the club, taking away all of the fans' say in the club's management. This deal sparked a vast array of outrage by fans who wanted Glazer out immediately.
There was a change in ownership at Manchester United and change in philosophy, because it was deemed that the club then, any money which was being made was just going to go to shareholders as opposed to go back into the club. And there's a lot of backlash against Manchester United, and it's never stopped, to be fair. But the only one it was is that it actually made Ferguson's life a little easier, because he didn't have to deal with quite so many people then. He just literally deal with a couple of the family, and they carried on winning the leagues. I think the first 3 years after the takeover, they won the league 1, 2, 3 years on the trot. So it was very, very difficult for the United fans to have a real good go. I mean, they did, when your team's being successful on the field of play. And Ferguson was still there. If Ferguson had left, that would have been a different matter, because then they could have blamed the Glazers for Ferguson leaving. But he didn't. He stayed, and they carried on doing what Manchester United do, and that's winning trophies and being, not only that, the best team in Europe as well.
Despite the ongoing protests regarding the ownership of the club, United continued to sign some pretty big names, and in 2006 went on to sign the young striker and Everton wonder boy, Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney's strengths were he could score goals, he was skillful, he was hard. You know, he could do a tackle or two. Very strong, particularly for his age. He picked up a few injuries, but generally speaking, he was injury-free for a lot of that time. You feel for him from an England point of view because the fact that all the burden was put on him to try and save, which was a pretty ordinary England time post Gerrard and Lampard. He was the one who was supposed to take England on. But for Manchester United, he fitted in perfectly because he wasn't the be-all end-all of Manchester United. There were lots of good players around him, but he was the kind of him and Ronaldo where you know if you put two men on Ronaldo, Rooney will score, and vice versa. So he was perfect, the pair of them together.
United went on to win the league once again in both 2007 and 2008. But Ferguson didn't want to stop there and wanted the glory of winning the Champions League once again. But to achieve this, they had to beat their English rivals and biggest competitors, Avram Grant's Chelsea.
At that time, Manchester United were overhauling Liverpool's record of domestic titles in the Premier League. And of course, then the great rivalry between the two clubs demanded that they win the European Cup and try and close the gap between Manchester United and Liverpool in terms of European Cup and Champions League victories. So this becomes a real focus for Alex Ferguson. They hadn't won the Champions League since 1999. And of course, Cristiano Ronaldo is very, very aware that you are never going to be seen as being one of the world's great players if you don't have a Champions League win. So the game itself, two sides who know each other so well. Ronaldo perhaps inevitably breaks the deadlock, puts Manchester United in front, but Chelsea are strong and Frank Lampard equalises, and there's really almost nothing to choose between the two sides. And it goes deep into the night, into a penalty shootout, where Manchester United finally come out on top. Ronaldo can celebrate being a Champions League winner, but Ronaldo is the only Manchester United player to miss from the penalty spot in the final, which probably dampens his evening to a certain extent.
Saved it! Some things are just meant to be. The man who has been unable to stop scoring all season, stopped halfway through his run-up, and Petr Cech kept him out.
But he finally has that Champions League winners' medal, and Manchester United have the trophy for the first time in almost a decade.
In my opinion, I played good in the game, and I scored a goal, and I missed the penalty. I feel, well, the bad day of my life, the worst day.
The worst day of your life.
Oh my God! But the lads, they do the proper job.
Is this your best team?
I think it's going to make us the best team. Yeah, it's an amazing achievement, fantastic achievement. A great team, great team.
And what about another European Cup for Manchester United?
Fantastic. Oh, we deserve it.
United had done it again and won their fifth double under Ferguson. Unfortunately, once again, Ronaldo was one of the biggest talking points regarding Manchester United. Ferguson was showing his irritation within press conferences because of this constant media talk.
Could someone send my violin case over, please? Huh? I'm not discussing that. Okay, the matter's closed now. He's a Manchester United player, it's finished.
It's okay. Would you like to say
it's finished.
About the situation of Cristiano?
Yeah, he's finished. He's here. He's going to be a player here next season, believe me. It's all over.
But on the 1st of July 2009, Cristiano Ronaldo followed in David Beckham's footsteps and joined Real Madrid for a fee of £84.6 million, becoming the most expensive player in the sport. This recent loss of Ronaldo didn't stop United from achieving success. Thanks to their loyal players such as Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville and Rio Ferdinand, they went on to win the league again in 2011, helping them to surpass Liverpool's domestic title wins record and becoming the top team in England with 19 Premier League trophies. Ferguson also became the most decorated manager in their history, with 12 Premier League titles, 2 Champions League wins and 4 FA Cups. It was the height of their success, and it felt like nothing could go wrong for United.
The rivalry between Manchester United and Liverpool has been there for many years. When I was growing up, it was called the Clash of the Titans, or the Clash of the Giants, and even that was when Liverpool were by far the best side and Manchester United, for long periods, weren't even the second best side. But that was always the game that you wanted to watch. It was the one which meant most, even above the derbies, you know, Manchester against Man City or Liverpool against Everton. Still, that Manchester United-Liverpool game was still the big one. Then there was comments made by Kenny Dalglish and other people to Ferguson, and when they were saying those, they were, you know, Man United had 10, 12 less titles, so you could get away with saying it in the knowledge that that's all right, they'll never catch us up. Well, they did pretty quickly, and yeah, it meant a lot to match them, then go one more than them and say, yeah, we've won more league titles than you. Liverpool will turn around and say, well, we've won more European Cups and more trophies altogether. But ask any Liverpool player, what's most important? Winning the domestic league. Same with the Manchester United player, and same with the managers.
In the season of 2012-2013, United went on to win their 20th title, thanks to a wave of new signings, such as Robin van Persie, who helped boost their success. By the end of the season, United fans and press were shocked with the announcement made by Ferguson.
Ferguson had announced previously that he was going to retire, and he'd done it halfway through a season and said at the end of next season, I will retire. And when they got into that season, he felt he'd lost his players because why play for this manager because he's going to be going at the end of the season, and they did pretty poorly that year. But he relented, decided, no, I'm going to stay on. So second time around, he was going to make sure, right, I'm not going to announce anything until we've won the league. Now at that time, Manchester City had arrived. You know, they weren't just the noisy neighbours, they were the ones who were the team to beat. Ferguson wanted to make sure that he didn't end on a season whereby they weren't champions. So during what turned out to be his last season, no one really knew at that time that was the case. He made sure that his team won the league that season, and as soon as it was mathematically certain, then he announced that he would be leaving at the end of the season. Was it a bombshell? Probably not too much of a bombshell, just on the basis that he'd done it previously, and on the back of winning the league, it seemed like the perfect time. But it was a bombshell in the sense of, now we do have to find a replacement, and that proved very difficult.
Alex Ferguson had retired from the club. It was the end of a glorious era as they said goodbye to their longest-serving manager, who had led them to becoming the best team in the world. Off the back of this departure, United were looking for their new manager. Rumours were speculating some big names, and the media turned the search into a big guessing game. With Pep Guardiola and Mourinho out of the question, one manager would remain. That manager would be the former Everton manager, David Moyes.
Alex Ferguson didn't make many, if any, mistakes during his time at Manchester United, but he made one crucial one right at the end. And that was not necessarily that backing David Moyes, as in backing him with the board, but in public he didn't back him when he did his speech for his last match at home. He stood on the field and he said, just remember, when things weren't going well for me on the field of play, we were backed. I was backed. You are going to back your new manager. And that sends out a mentality and a message to the fans is that your new manager is going to be rubbish. You're going to have to back him. He never ever would have said that kind of message in public. And that's a message we got through. You know, it's almost a case of, you know, giving David Moyes there's my ship, and then just as you send it off in the distance, you just send a quick message to everyone on board, by the way, it's going to sink. And guess what happens? Everyone on board panics.
Moyes did win an FA Community Shield in his first official game with United, beating Wigan Athletic 2-0. But within his single season at the club, only managed to get them to 7th in the league. After 10 months in charge, Moyes was dismissed. He was the shortest-serving manager in United's history, with ex-players like Dennis Law and David Beckham stating he deserved more time.
Frustrating season, I think, for everyone. You know, you win together and you lose together. And like I say, these 4 remaining games, I want to bring some positivity back. I want to put smiles on the faces. We've got 3 home games at Old Trafford where our form hasn't been great. And I want to see goals, I want to see tackles, I want to see players taking players on, I want to get the crowd up, and I want the passion that should come with being a Manchester United player.
Ryan Giggs became the caretaker manager for the last 4 games of the season, but failed to impress the board. Going into the 2014-15 season, United looked to sign a highly experienced manager who could take the club forward in a new direction. That new manager was Louis van Gaal, who had a great track record of success with other European clubs.
I think we expect to hear that Van Gaal's going to be appointed this week. Is he the right man for Old Trafford?
But you hope so. Again, only time will tell. I felt David Moyes is a good choice. Obviously, felt he should have maybe got a bit more time. But Van Gaal, obviously, vastly experienced manager. Worked at big clubs, Bayern and Barcelona, has been involved in national teams before. So, yeah, fingers crossed he'll come and do the business.
They say that he's quite a disciplinarian. Is that what the club needs at the moment, do you think?
Possibly so, but again, different managers like different styles and different character traits. And yeah, I've heard that before. He's pretty strict in terms of timekeeping and stuff like that. But listen, you know, if you can't be on time for work, there's something drastically wrong. So fingers crossed he'll come in and, you know, United give him all the backing and the support that he needs. And hopefully he'll get a lot more time than David Moyes has given.
Unfortunately, once again, this role was unsuccessful and short-lived. By the end of Van Gaal's career at United, press conferences were getting heated as the pressure was weighing up on his job, leading to Van Gaal walking out on a few of them.
Has anybody in this room?
From football, 2 days after winning the FA Cup, once again, United were having to look for a new manager. Luckily, after the firing of Jose Mourinho at Chelsea that same season, United had an open target and approached him for the role. Despite United and Chelsea's long rivalry facing against him multiple times in the Ferguson years, Mourinho joined United on the 27th of May 2016.
I think with Jose Mourinho, everything's exciting with him, whether it's good or bad. There's always a story, there's always excitement, so United fans will love that.
Under Mourinho, things looked to be improving, with United getting to the top of the league. Mourinho also helped United to go on to win the Europa League and the English Football League Cup that same year, earning United another double to add to their collection. After a phenomenal first season, Mourinho's United started to slip up once again. In the season of 2017-2018, they finished second, 18 points behind their closest rivals, Manchester City. They also failed to gain any silverware in any of the other competitions they were in.
I'm really, really happy with the players that I had on the pitch, with their attitude, with their effort. I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy. And because I'm more than happy, I assume the responsibilities of the defeat, and I want them to be hidden behind me. They gave absolutely everything.
That following season, pressure was mounting on Mourinho once again. Inconsistency was weighing on the club once again, and the media was focusing on why Mourinho was failing as a manager. In a constant tussle with the press, Mourinho finally lashed out at a journalist in a post-match conference after losing 3-0 to Tottenham at Old Trafford.
Now, just to finish, do you know what was the result? 3-0. 3-0. Do you know what this means? 3-0. But also mean 3 premierships, and I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them. Respect, man, respect, man.
A few months later, Mourinho was fired from United, and it was back to the drawing board once again. By the start of the 2018-2019 season, United were struggling to find anyone for the management role. In an act to boost morale for the players and the fans, the board appointed the ex-player and club legend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the caretaker management role. But with his appointment, United's results flourished as they went on to win game after game. Within a few months, the United board hired Ole as their new manager.
I didn't even see the announcement of Ole coming. It was a really big surprise that they picked him. I thought they'd go somewhere else, you know, some of the you know, former players who's had bigger clubs, who'd been at the club but are, you know, from different other parts of the country, of Europe. It was kind of a clever move because Ole's worked with Pogba, he's worked with Lingard when they were in the reserves, and they have huge respect for Ole. Everyone has huge respect for Ole. The potential as a coach was very, very early on. It was very clear that he would be a really good coach.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? We'd all love to have it. And when we kind of forget that when Ole came in, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in initially as a temporary manager, the results went straight away for a good period of time. It wasn't 1 or 2 games, it was over a 15-game period. I think they won 12 or something like that over 15 games. You'd have been brave board to have gone, no, we're not going to go that, we're going to go somewhere else, because you'd have got crucified. Because they'd have gone, well, what on earth, what more can he do? But then as soon as he was given the job, then it went. Now, why is that the case? That's got to be a bit of mentality down to the players. You know, I don't imagine for one second that Solskjaer would have changed. He still would have been doing the same things he did during those first 15 games. But the mentality of, I'm playing for temporary manager, right, let's get, yes, I'll work for you, I'll work for you, work for you, work for you, and then suddenly when you become the full-time, it's, all right, okay, well, I don't know whether I want to work for you for 2-3 years. And the personnel has changed a little bit, and he'll have to change it a lot, because the policy of bringing in young players as well that's dangerous, because that's, you know, we talk about the Busby Bates, you talk about the class of '92. You know, these were quality players, really, really good young players, but they also had some senior players around them. I don't see too many senior players around the Manchester United players in this Ole Gunnar Solskjaer squad, with the exception of Pogba, Mata towards the end of his career, and some of the other ones are the ones who are getting slammed more than any. You know, Phil Jones and Lukaku's left. So there's no balance there. And is that his fault?
To this date, Ole is still at the wheel and continues to build a new, young United side. With the same mentality as Ferguson and Busby, Ole looks to be trying to encourage young players to see their real potential. And although they aren't what they used to be in the glory days, maybe in the near future, United could bloom into the legendary team like they did in the early 1990s.
You've got to be patient. You have to know that to build a team and rebuild a squad, it will take time I'm not going to ask for too much time, because as a manager you're also under pressure to get results straight away. They want to, or maybe not results, but maybe the way we want to play football. So I hope with the way we approach the games now, the fans will see what we're trying to do and the results will come.
The results they've still been inconsistent, but the performances have been getting better, so we can see where we're heading, and obviously there's a lot of young players in the squad and in the starting 11, so we're sort of learning as we go along, but you know, hopefully we can, you know, it's the first time we've had back-to-back wins in the league, so hopefully that can start something off for us and we can get used to just getting results and performing.
United have had a long and rich history behind them. They are still to this date the Premier League's top winning team. They have also become one of the biggest brands in the industry, selling millions in merchandise all over the world. With over 650 million fans worldwide, it's not hard to see why Manchester United is a recognisable image known everywhere.
They'll always be there or thereabouts, and the size, you know, you can't pick a number and say, you know, they throw the statistics out. The richest club in the world this year is Real Madrid, and last year it was Manchester United. Go and, you know, go into somewhere in Thailand or whatever and walk up to someone and say, which football club do you know? And they'll pretty quickly, Man United will be one of the first ones they say.
With the statues of Matt Busby, Alex Ferguson, as well as the Munich air disaster memorial clock, United's history will always be remembered, no matter what happens to them on the pitch over the seasons. everyone will always know the team name, Manchester United, and will always know of their hard-fought campaigns and how they achieved their glory.